All right, now we go down south to Louisa County, Iowa. There is a piece of land out there known as Indian Slough. It was selected as the site of the 2023 Iowa Multiple Species Inventory and Monitoring Project. Now, this is a statewide effort between the Iowa DNR and Iowa State University. Sites are randomly chosen, and then surveyors take inventory of the fish, the animals, birds, and insects in the area. And after completing the inventory monitoring in Louisa County, there were a total of 231 species cataloged. Here to talk about this is the Interim Director of Louisa County Conservation, Lana Arts-McComb. Lana, thank you so much for making time for us today. I wanted to start with the purpose of this project. I mean, what's the benefit of doing something like this?
The benefit is just collecting data. It's strange to sometimes think about a research project that doesn't have a specific question or a specific hypothesis that you're trying to answer. Here, the goal of a monitoring project is to simply collect all the data that you can to build up exactly what it's called, a species inventory of a certain area.
Especially because, it would be impossible to survey the entire state. So when you have these little pockets that are randomly chosen, how does that help?
What it's going to do is it's going to give you a wide variety of habitats, and then it's going to give you the ability to kind of make an average, for lack of a better word, of the species that you're going to find in, uplands. Here in Indian Slough. This one is a very, very, very lowland area right along the Iowa River. So it's going to give a nice cross section of Iowa.
Okay, so what did the inventory find down in the Indian Slough?
So they have identified some target species that are listed as species of greatest conservation need here in Iowa. And at the Indian Slough survey, they did find tiger salamanders, which are one of those species, and then also the least weasel, which is the smallest carnivore in Iowa. And that is another one of those species of greatest conservation need. I was particularly excited to see that they saw pileated woodpeckers. They're one of my absolute favorite birds. They're gigantic, and they're on the kind of life list of a lot of ornithologists and bird watchers out there.
What do those ones look like?
They are a big, like human torso sized woodpecker
Oh my
with a
gosh.
big red
Oh my
head.
gosh.
And then they have kind of their red feathers kind of go almost to a point at the back of their head. They're hard to miss if you get to see one.
Okay, well, now I have to go out and try to find one. But I did want to ask you, were there anything about the findings that surprised you?
Not particularly surprising. Again, I was excited to see some of those species of greatest concerns. But to me, the most important and the coolest part of this is having that data. And while they could only survey one of the areas in Louisa County, we have a lot of areas for Louisa County Conservation that are the same kind of habitat, this bottom habitat, river habitat, and we can use the data collected here to kind of see if we can find these same species in our other areas that we have in the county.
Well, before I let you go, I did see that each category that was inventoried, like butterflies and birds, there were always multiple unidentified or unknown species. What does that mean?
It's kind of the fun part about science. So the inventory protocol has the specific step 1, step 2, step 3 that the researchers are going to use. And a lot of the time that's involving actually trapping animals. So you're going to get a full identification. But there's also a visual component, which is just going to a specific location within the area and then making as many visual observations as you can. And that means that when you're doing this, you might get a flash of like the rear end of an animal running across the trail or the splash of a turtle going into the water. And because we're in this for accurate data, you can't say, oh, I know that was a painted turtle, because there's a bunch of painted turtles in the area. If you don't know for sure that it's a painted turtle, then you're going to list it as an unidentified turtle or an unidentified species of turtle, kind of like a UFO. We don't know what it is. We're not going to make a guess, because that's not scientifically accurate, but we do know it was a turtle, or we do know it was a butterfly.
Wow. Well, I just think this is so cool, and I can't thank you enough for your time today, Lana. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, no problem. Thank you.
And if you guys at home want to check out the full list of species that were found through this inventory project, you can head over to our website and click on the As Seen on TV tab.